Are you laughing at my expectation that you actually have some marketing if you're coming to a marketing class?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know where we're at. So we'll start at ground zero.
I'm a level below that. I'm in the basement.
You're in the basement. We're like at level -1 with Mike. All right. How about you, Adam? You have that great boudoir like pamphlet, the digital PDF.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's made a difference. My email list grows a lot faster than it did, and I've actually noticed it's been a noticeable jump in number of clients too. That come from that. I'd say almost everyone that's contacted me in the past 3 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at their name, it's someone from that list. So they've come to my site and found that and then contacted me afterwards. So it's been a lot better. It's been a lot better anyway than when I just put an ad.
How are they getting that form?
So I have a Facebook ad. It goes to Facebook and Instagram, and it has a photo and it says boudoir planning guide. And I say a little bit on there about, have you ever wondered what, this kind of shoot is like? And this book has, shows you everything you can expect and exactly what it's like. Because I kind of walk them through the entire shoot in the book and show them a lot of my photos are in there too. So it's basically a portfolio with just a bunch of information on it. And if they click the button, it has a button that says download. If they click that button, it takes them to my website with where my sign up form is. And if you put in their name and email, then when they sign up, it automatically sends them that file. And then 3 days later, they get a second one that I made kind of the same thing. That's more of like a wardrobe guide suggestion type document. And they get that 3 days later just to kind of keep me in mind.
So when they're clicking on the ad, are they going right to the file or they're going to sign up for your email list?
They go to the sign up form, and then the sign up form sends them the file when they sign up.
I gotcha.
So, and I do know, just because I can see how many people go to that page against how many people actually sign up, and I do lose people at that point. I guess they don't want to sign up to get
that's commitment.
But so I do lose people there. So I've been trying to decide, is it better to make them sign, or should I just go ahead and give it to them? But then I have no idea because I can send them something else if they sign the list and I don't hear from them. I can send them something else down the road, but back and forth would be better.
So maybe what we can look at doing is sort of like an abbreviated version. Like here's my top 3 tips, and this page that it takes them to is that. Okay. And it's like 1, 2, 3 kind of thing. And then it's like, if you'd like the full 24 things, just sign up for my email list. I promise that we're still in an open relationship. You can see other photographers if you'd like. I won't be jealous.
Right.
And you can unsubscribe at any time. And I promise I won't call you and be, a stage 5 clinger. Something cute and kitschy like that I think would totally fit your brand anyway. Okay. But I've noticed for me personally, with weddings, people have the same sort of fear of commitment when it comes to actually coming in for a consultation. They want me to email them all the info. They don't want to come in until they're like, well, we'll set up an appointment when we're ready to sign. And taking the time to actually explain to them that what they're coming in for is just a conversation. And I have a policy that I don't actually have them sign contracts when they come in. I mean, if they're like, no, I want to sign now and get it out of the way, then yes, we'll do that. I'm not going to be like, no, you have to wait. Right. But I don't go, okay, let's sign your contract now. So usually they send the initial inquiry, which is pretty standard. Like the Knot especially has a thing that they can just click. I looked at your website. Please okay, let's sign your contract. Is that on mine? Or so usually they send the initial.
That's strange. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody caught it. Okay. So when they send the initial thing, it's usually just, can you send me prices, basically.
Right.
And then
2 minutes. All right.
Sorry, I'm just gonna mute Mike for a second. So when they send that, they'll usually get a response from me that says, hey, congrats on your engagement. We're so excited you're thinking about letting us be part of your day. You know, as far as prices, we custom tailor every collection to suit our clients' needs. Nice. Because a lot of wedding photographers have package A, package B, package C, little more most, which is very common with portraits as well. You probably have something similar with boudoir.
Yes, I do.
And so the problem with that specifically with weddings that may not be for portraits, although I find that it is that you have the school photo syndrome where you're like, well, I definitely need 2 8x10s for each of the grandmas, and I definitely need at least 5 5x7s, and package A only comes with 1 8x10 and 2 5x7s, but package C comes with 2 8x10s and 5 5x7s and 23 wallets and 4 keychains and new grandma and, you know, right, coffee mug and my firstborn child's 2 front teeth and everything else in it. And you have to get that one in order to get the things that you need. So we basically a la carte everything together for every single client.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I actually cut a lot of that out because what I found is, at least for what I do, most people want something they can stick in a box and hide in a drawer somewhere. So I
right.
Even though I have some really nice albums, most people don't get them. They want the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I've found like a really nice box that I just put 5x7 prints in for them, and almost everybody's gone for that. So it's made it a lot easier, actually.
Yeah, perfect. And I think once you get in for a while, you'll start to notice. So one of the things that I recommend when people are building their price list and their product list when they're starting is, you know, give it 6 months. If you want to try out a new product and you're like, this is the coolest thing ever and every client's going to want this, put it on your list for 6 months. If at the end of that 6 months you have 0 buys, or you can do it by the number of clients. After 10 clients, 25 clients, you set the number, nobody has purchased it, then as much as you love it, it comes off the list. Yeah. And that helps you condense, because I see people that come to me with like 5 pages of pricing sheets with different print sizes and different matting options, different, you know, finishes, and then, you know, 25 different kind of boxes and things. And it just gets overwhelming for clients to go through. So if you are finding that everybody is buying this one box and you can just customize that box, where that's what they're getting and they get to pick, you know, what the cover is and what the print finish is or how many images they're putting in it, then you've already taken most of the decision making out. And then it's just about personal preference, which is the fun part of shopping. Do I want this in blue or I want it in red? Right. You know, girls like that part. It's when they have the whole store they have to go through that they're like, no.
Yeah, I definitely made that a lot easier. The box now comes with everything.
Which is pretty standard. Like the Knot especially has a thing that they can just click. I looked at your website. Go, okay, let's sign your contract now. Oh, it's on mine. You know, so usually they send the initial.
That's strange.
Okay. Hang on. Okay, I think I fixed it. I think I found the culprit. Apparently, it will also autoplay on other social media, so sorry. My bad. Okay, so Adam, you're on mute, love. There we go. Okay, let's try that again.
It comes with all the packages now. It's just a matter of the differences, how many photos they get in it. And then if they want more than that, you know, I can show them other things, but it's not all listed anywhere.
Okay. So they're getting, they're seeing the Facebook ad. Is that pretty much the only place you're advertising right now?
I have some Google, I have 2 Google AdWords ads too. Okay. Well, actually I put the same exact thing on Google AdWords, but it wasn't doing as well. I think it's because you can't put a photo on there with it. it's just text. And so nobody was really using that ad. But then I have another one out that does okay, and I leave that one out there. I did sign up for the Knot because you mentioned to me I should, but I honestly haven't gotten anything from there. And
Okay.
I do get, I have a few clients recently that started coming from Yelp. I've started noticing more people from Google just because I'm slowly moving up in the search results, and so
Okay.
finding me easier than they did before.
Okay. So you're pretty happy with where your prices are now. We moved you up over the course of the last couple of months, and you're selling well, and you're getting a good response from your ads. So what do you feel is the next step? What would you like to see happen next for you?
I think, well, I just need more clients or more. I still have the majority of people come in,
Okay.
want the lowest price, which is really the one I used to get people in the door. And usually I can upsell them, to get a few more $100 out of them on top of that once they see their photos. But I feel like I'm not finding the audience that I want.
In terms of quantity or
quality, people that are looking for this and want to spend the money. Like I did have, you remember a while back, I was looking for people to input on the couples package I was trying to make, which was, and it ended up being, I put a $5,000 price on that, and I actually sold one, and the couple that did it didn't bat an eye at that price. But that's been very rare. Most of them come in and they're like, well, what if I don't do the hair and makeup? And what if I don't?
Where did that couple find you? How did they get in touch?
The funny thing was they actually came from Thumbtack, which is where I'm used to the really cheap people coming from.
Okay. So do you have any kind of referral plan in place with your clients?
I don't, no.
Okay. So that might be the next step. Is looking into that. Once I got the boudoir started, and when I started boudoir and was doing that before I got into teaching or anything else, once it picked up, all of my clients were coming from referrals or were coming from Facebook organically. So I would post an image of whoever I photographed that week and share it and tag her and then one of her friends. So it was still kind of referral, but it was referral through social media, or they were just talking and looking at images and they were calling and going, oh, you shot my friend, my cousin, my sister, whatever. Right. So there should definitely be some sort of referral program and some sort of enticement. So it's the argument of, if you give me $10 and I'm going to give you $100. Does that sound like a good deal for you? Yeah. So maybe contact them, go, hey, we're running a special. We'd love to have some more couples. Maybe you can recommend your friends. You are who you hang with for a very large portion of your following. If you look around at the people that you spend a lot of time with, you usually meet them because you guys are in similar demographics. You shop at the same places, you are part of the same clubs, your kids go to the same school together, whatever your activities are and things, those are where you meet people. If you're working together, or even if you're, your company and their company is somehow coinciding, like they're all similar financial brackets. So wherever those people came from that they didn't bat an eye at 5,000, it's easy not to bat an eye at 5,000 if you're making 500,000 a year.
Right.
Or it wasn't that it was financially easy for them. They just really valued it. And if that's the case, then the people that they hang with are probably artistic people that are more romantic and passionate as couples, things that they do with. Chances are they have the people that would love to buy that kind of session. Or they have other girlfriends and people that are single that may not do the couple session, but would come in and spend a higher amount in your portrait sessions.
Right.
For everyone that contacts you, how would you say your closing rate is?
A little more than half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that amount?
I would like all of them. But yeah, I feel like I do pretty good. It's kind of funny. I was telling one of my friends the other day, it feels like I run my entire business by text message, because very few people actually call. They all want to text, which is okay because I book a lot of them over text, but I do wonder if I can get them to call. Could I book more, or is that just the way people do it now?
I think it's both, and I think it depends on the person. If somebody doesn't want to talk, and their social anxiety is like, nope. I have people that I don't think I would have closed if I hadn't called them or met with them, and I have people that I don't think I could have closed if I had been on the phone with them. I've lost sales on the phone just because of their personality and etiquette on the phone just doesn't jive, and I can't build a rapport with them. Right. For me, I know that my strength is in person. 9 times out of 10, if I get them in the studio, they book. I don't have very many people walk out once they've been in the office and not book a session. But again, that's a commitment thing. So for me, if I want them to come in, because actually coming into the studio is a much bigger commitment than checking out my website, than giving me their email, than talking, over social media or text or email, than talking on the phone. Like, that's, each stage of that is a deeper commitment. Like, so if I want them to come in, then they have to feel really comfortable, that, they're not walking into like a timeshare presentation where it's like, and for only $49,000 more, right, we'll photograph your children forever on every Thursday of October. So it's that kind of thing that they're worried about, because there's other people that have screwed it up for us because they don't know how to sell, or they high pressure sell. And they basically bully the clients into buying just because the clients want to leave and they know that's the way to leave, which is sad, but it's true. And I've seen people that do it really well. So I would say, if you feel like you're only selling your lowest package, that's your get them in the door package more often than not, then either there's 2 possible options. One, there's something wrong with the upsell tactic that you're using that isn't translating for them. Or 2, the images that you're producing are not quantifying the prices on the next package. Either if the next package has more images, then you're not producing enough A-list images for them to go, I have to have all of these. Right. Or you're just not selling it in the way that they do well. Now, I actually downsell clients, and I've found that works really well. So I start them out at my top package. I know that my top collection is a 20 image box for most of my portrait sessions. We don't really do albums in the studio. So when they come in, we go through and cull all the images, and I'm like, right now, we're not picking which ones we buy. We're just going to pick which ones you like, because I just took all the pressure off of them comparing, because that's what they do. Do I like this enough to pay for it? Right. And they're using 2 different things. So it's not really about, is it a good image? Do I love this image? It's, do I love this image enough to buy it? And I do that all the time. Like, even if you ever watch girls when they're shopping and you see them, they'll like go and they'll look and they'll grab something and they'll be like, oh my God, I really like this. Oh, well, I don't like it for $100. On to the
right.
next one,
right.
and they have it in their head. So they went from, yes, I really like this, to nope, all in one shot. And it didn't actually have to do with them not liking what they were about to buy. It had to do with the translation of value. Mm-hmm. So if you start them out where they're not thinking about price and you take that off the table, then you get to see what they really love. So when we do sales, right after the session, I sit down with them. They're hyped off of the session. That is when you should be selling to them. I cannot stress this enough. I went from $500 a session to $2,000 plus a session just by making that change and tweaking it. And it was really hard for me, because if you look at my work, a lot of my style and my voice as an artist comes in post. So yeah. So it was hard for me to be like, it's okay. I can show them the images out of camera. Now, if your work sucks in photography and you are fixing it in Photoshop, I'm not getting into the argument of get it right in camera, but if your work is only 10% there in photos and you are fixing the images, you're going to have a hard time selling. If your images are there and you have the base of it and you're just enhancing it with Photoshop and putting your style on, then you can absolutely show the raw ones. At the very least, pick a client and try it. So you lose one sale, but you have a better understanding of whether it is. Like eventually I just bit the bullet and went, all right, I'm going to show these all out of camera. And I was a nervous wreck. And the first people that came in and did it bought a $1,500 package, which is right where they told me they were going to be for spending anyway. They're like, we're not going over $1,500. Okay, that's fine. You know, I understand it's a mortgage payment for pictures of you in your underwear. Let's keep this in perspective. I'm okay with that, you know?
Right.
But it didn't make a difference. You know, when we were sitting and we were looking through them, they can see the basis of the image, and actually the excitement got built because I was like, okay, so now you've seen the basis of the images and you've picked the ones you love. Now I get to go and make art out of the photographs that we took, and you get to see them for the first time again. And it's a totally different experience. Now they're hype off of waiting to see what you're going to come up with because they know your style. Right. So, you know, and if they're like, oh, well, and they start to kind of look at it and they're like, well, it didn't really look like, it's okay. It's gonna look like my images. Don't forget, these are right out of camera. You know, I warm up my screen. I have a setting for previews so that the skin tones are nice and warm. You know, the resolution's actually a little lower so it doesn't show every line and wrinkle and stuff in them. And we show them on the projector, which is front lighting and projecting on instead of backlighting, which actually helps soften the skin too if you look at the images. So, you know, it's little tips and tricks like that. But basically when we go through 120 images, we'll go through and I'll narrow it down to 60. I'm only looking for them to buy 20. So they take those 60 that I'm willing to put my name on and they narrow down from those ones. And if we get them down to 27, I go, well, you said you wanted to stay at 1,500. Now we can go cut another 15 of these out to keep you in budget if you want. And we can get real selective. And then I will help them and make recommendations for them to pay me less money. Because at that point, I want them to understand that I am there for them to have a quality session and I'm not there to bankrupt them. It is not just about their wallet. So if they tell me this is my absolute budget, I know they're spending a lot of money on me and I want them to understand that I understand that. Still, even though I'm downselling at this point instead of upselling, they're still cutting out. Even if they cut down, they're still at my top tier. In order to get down to my bottom package, they have to cut like another 45 images. And the more they look at them, the more attached they get, the less they want to let them go.
Right.
They're still hype off that session. So if you're starting at the base and going, okay, well, you can come in and you can buy, and here's my base section, then you have set that price in their mind. And if you're setting, say, 275 as the base package in their mind, and your next package is at 500, that's, you know, just about double the price. And so you're asking them for double, and that's a lot for them to swallow. Oh, well, that's twice the amount we wanted to spend, right. You know, as opposed to, well, you have all these things and you love them, and I want you to have them. If they really are worth the value, you're adding basically around $100 per image to add them all to your box. So you've got about 7 more to get down to your thing. Are you able to let go of all 7 of these? And sometimes they're like, okay, help me cut it down. And then that tells me that that's where we need to be. And if they're like, well, I really love those 2. Okay, well, let's keep those 2 and it's an extra $200. You know, it's fine. It's 1 month's cell phone bill and you have them forever. You know, or call me back and add them on later. Or why don't we look at payment plans? Because maybe you have $1,500 to spend a day, but we can probably go up to $1,800 and take out an 18-month payment plan or a 6-month payment plan, you know, and figure it out that way. So there's a lot of different options, but people aren't necessarily not upgrading because of price. They're upgrading because of the translation between value and price. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, yeah. Okay. And you only have to edit the ones they actually buy.
Yes, which is super helpful. Now, I got away with that at the beginning because when I started, it was like a flat rate, $250, $500 when I was just beginning, but I would return 10 images and I picked out my favorite. Now that I do the in-person sales right after, I would say 95% of the time, my favorite image is not their favorite image, and they pick at least 3 that I wouldn't want if I was just designing for my portfolio. So I pick ones that I'm willing to put my name on and try to leave it up to them, because the more they're involved with the process, the more attached they get to them, the more they forget about the money because they get excited about the images and what they're investing in rather than how much they're investing. And that's what you're looking for.
Okay.
So you're doing well. And right now we're working on Facebook. How do you feel about, do you feel like Facebook is yielding you the most paying clients?
Sometimes it comes and goes. It's kind of, I'll get like a group of clients close together from there, and then I won't get anyone else for a couple of months, and they'll start coming from somewhere else. It's kind of strange.
Okay.
Even though I do the same ads all the time.
Okay. Are you looking at your insights and stuff to see when you're seeing the peaks and valleys? Is it near holidays? Is it a certain season? Is it a...
Actually, I haven't looked at those details now.
Ah.
I just look at how many have seen it and how many have come from it, but I haven't looked at what the time frame was or anything like that. No.
Yeah, so if I was seeing cycles or seasons of people coming in where it's like I'm running this ad and a whole bunch of them came in February, and then I really didn't see anything in March and April, but then they came in around May, and then June was good. Well, May and June are heavy, heavy wedding season. So even if they're not getting married, chances are they're going to other people getting married, which is putting love in the air. So if I was seeing an uptick in couple sessions and romantic sessions, I would start looking for the factors that are making people emotionally tip on the scale to go, okay, now's the time to do that. February, no brainer. Valentine's Day, it's going on, you know? If Christmas, if I was seeing a big influx in them in October, November, right now we're getting into the holiday sessions. Some people are already preempting their Christmas list and starting to compile gifts. So now's a really good time to up the marketing. But at the same time, everybody else is upping theirs as well.
Right.
So it's kind of a trade-off. Like you're gonna see in all of your online advertising, like Facebook, where you're paying per click or paying per impression, you know, it's based off of cost. People spend more money per click, and they spend more money for more impressions around this time of year. So your advertising costs will go up, but everybody's looking for what you're selling right now. So then the option and the next step towards success is, how am I setting myself apart and who am I reaching that they're not reaching? So I actually tend to dial down my marketing as far as paid advertising around November, December online, just because it gets more expensive if you're doing things like Facebook ads and things like that, which is why I like things like Thumbtack, or like the Knot is a monthly subscription every month that stays the same, so I can build it into my budget, as opposed to Google or Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, those kind of ones where you're paying per impression or per click, because that price varies depending on how many other are paying to market to the same people you are.
Right.
So, but you have all those analytics. That's definitely something that you should be looking at to see where you're seeing the upticks, what possible things changed. And most people will go, well, nothing changed. I'm running the same ad I was 6 months ago. Why'd I get 10 clients in July and 0 clients in November? You know, well, it's winter and they don't want to take off their clothes in November. I don't know. But most people don't look outside of themselves and their business for what they're doing, which is exactly what you should be doing. So good call.
Thank you.
Now, was it you that was asking me about marketing outside of social media? That might have been.
Yeah, So I feel like there should be other things too. Like I did this women's expo last weekend, and that was kind of presented to me. They marketed it as it was like professional women and that were into like health and beauty and stuff like that. And so I thought, well, that's a perfect spot for me to be. But then when I got there, you know, I had spent a bunch of money on the booth and all my materials and things, and it was completely different crowd than I expected. It was really a bunch of women just looking for a bunch of cheap stuff that they were selling at the booths there, which is not, you know, and I had a lot of people, you know, come up and sign my list and seemed like they cared and were interested in what I was doing, but I haven't heard from anyone, you know, in the last week. So
okay.
I feel like it was a waste of time. So I'm always trying to figure out, okay, well, where are the ladies that I'm trying to reach, hang out? How do I reach them? Because maybe, I mean, I guess everyone's on social media, but maybe that's not where they find their ads. I don't know.
Do you ever go to expos?
Just that one. I mean, I've done two, and
No, I mean like as an attendant. Do you ever go to expos?
No.
Okay, so you know, I know this one kind of popped up out of nowhere, but I would definitely recommend that if you want to go to the expo route, that the best thing for you to do is go attend a few. They don't have to be your target market. Like you don't have to go to a women's expo. Go to something that you're interested in. Like my dad goes to the gun shows and the World War II expos all the time and talks to all the antique dealers and the weapons dealers and the uniform people. He loves that crap. You know, even like the farmers markets and things like that, where they have a bunch of people like set up with their own booths and things in the stores. But go wander around, go to an RV one, go to a tiny home one, go to, you know, go to a health and wellness one, whatever it is. Go and wander around some and just kind of keep mental or physical notes on which booths you stop at. If you stop at a booth, if you pause, that's one thing. If you actually walk in, and that's two. And just kind of keep note on what it is that's causing you to stop in your path. Because it's basically, you know, it's the physical version of internet scrolling. You know, we go on our Facebook feed and we scroll and we scroll and we scroll until we see something that makes us stop. And then, you know, you stop and you read it and you decide if you're going to click on it. You know, with video, you know, you're really invested if you hit the sound button now. Because they're all, you know, like there's different levels of commitment. Well, it's the same in physical and how it used to work. You know, we're growing up in a digital age now where we remember it not being a digital and an internet age where, you know, the internet was a novelty and we had dial-up. You know, our kids and the next generation are growing up never not having that. You know, they're playing on iPads at 6 months old with like letter learning things and touch the bear and, you know, like whatever the apps are, they have them designed for newborns at this point. Right. So they're completely invested in it. The internet exploded because it was this new terrain that nobody had ever explored before. And there was so much opportunity to do incredible things with it. And all of us were kind of exploring all the possibilities personally and professionally for what it could be. So it's a novelty now to have someone reach out and connect with you on a more organic level, and see them connect with you on a way that nobody else is connecting. So there's a lot of truth to the fact that you should be where your clients aren't. So if everybody's, you know, going back to the idea of I'm not going to market, you know, on Facebook or Google or anywhere that I'm paying per click because all of the ads go up and I can't compete with all of the companies that are using photography. Like forget other photographers in my area in little studios. You're also competing with all the big studios like Picture People and Sears and JCPenney and, you know, whatever else is going on. But you're also competing with anybody else that is tagging the word photography or photographs. So, you know, the fine arts section in freaking Target for home and goods and, you know, whatever else is going on and, you know, photography experiences and, you know, amusement parks that have photo packages include, like whoever's advertising to anything in your words is counting, you know, all of the print labs, Snapfish and Shutterfly and stuff like that that are running specials for the holidays. You're competing against all of those for that ad space. So while there's going to be probably 100 photographers in the area local to me that are all looking at social media, whether they're marketing on their page or they're paying for advertising or they're doing that, how many of them are taking time to actually connect with the people in the local market with something they can put their hands on? That makes a big difference. So I would be looking at things that are local to you to be able to advertise. Now you can do something simple, like you can go on the post office, you know, USPS.com and buy local mail routes around you and just have them deliver, you know, a postcard or something with, you know, beautiful boudoir images and just send it out to everyone that's local. And it's a couple $100. You pay something like, I think it's like 88 cents per house or something like that, you know, to put it in. So it's that plus the cost of whatever you're mailing. So you pick like one route's usually like 200 people. It's basically that mail carrier's foot route. And they can go and deliver it to every house personally, and it comes in their mailbox. And if you do the presentation right, they will stop scrolling, because I do the same thing with my mail. Junk. You know, it's that kind of thing. So whether you're in person or you're online or you're at an expo, your job is to get them to stop scrolling, get them to stop walking, get them to stop tossing. Whatever they're doing, when they get to yours, they have to stop. And the best way to learn how to do that is to just pay attention to the things that get you to stop. You know, what booth do you stop at? What piece of mail grabs your attention? For me, if I was doing in person, if I'm doing handwritten, you know, actual mail instead of email, I'm handwriting them. That doesn't necessarily mean that I sit down and individually handwrite everyone, but I do have my address handwritten as a JPEG that I can print out on the envelopes, because it's different than all of the text that they're getting. And who usually handwrites you your name on an envelope? Somebody that's sending you a letter, somebody you know.
Right.
Everybody else types it, and you can tell it's mass produced. Current resident at such and such, you know?
Right.
So I would look at handwriting. I would change the envelope size and probably the color of it. You know, you can go somewhere like Staples or Target or something and get pretty little parchment envelopes, or, you know, thank you cards. You know, thank you cards would be a good one. I would send thank you cards. Thank you so much for not tossing me out with all the junk mail. Here's $50 to come in, equivalents, 1 free 8x10, come in for a session on me. You know, absolutely. You know, it's little things like that. You know, we did one where I went, and because I'm a letter writing nerd, and I read all of the different ways that they would fold Victorian letters back in the time, and how the different foldings were meant for different people. So you knew if you were getting a Valentine or a professional correspondence and thing like that, and take the time to actually do that. And I wax sealed them. You know, it's little things like that that people are like, ooh, when have you ever gotten an envelope that had a wax seal on the back?
Right.
Oh, totally. I don't care what it is. I'm opening it. Yes, I do want 30% off at Kohl's. It doesn't matter because of the wax envelope. So, you know, those are the kind of people that are going to buy what I sell because they're into the same things that I'm into. You build your brand around what you like, you know?
Right.
So I could totally look at that. One of the other things that we'll be looking at, we have a coffee shop below our studio. They have this really neat thing where they had these special like little coins made out of clay by a local artist, and people can pick them up for $2, and they can either leave them on the counter and buy coffee for the next person that comes in, or take them and give them to someone, and you can redeem them at any time for coffee. I am going to buy every single one that they have in there. I am. And it's $2, and they're at a local coffee shop. They can't be any closer. All they have to do is walk up the stairs to my studio. Here's coffee. Please come in for a portrait session. And I'll just put my info on the edge of the cards, you know, or stick them to a business card or something. And your coffee today has been bought by Turning Page Portrait Studio. They don't need portraits right now. That's fine. Almost everybody does them at Christmas. Guess where I make a ton of money in 2 months? The Christmas giving tree sessions, which are all charity work. but I'll have them all in and I'm in a new studio. You know, they have a ton of kids and moms and families and stuff in there. I've also got the mini golf course next door. So how can I go collaborate with them? I have an incredible embroidery artist that does all of the jackets for like the school kids and embroiders like, you know, Springford basketball or, you know, Lower Marion, you know, hockey and lacrosse or, you know, whatever school and whatever thing they're into, Band Geek High School, you know, whatever it is down their sleeves. Who's she marketing to? Moms. Who are paying for that? Moms. Who am I trying to get to spend money on me? Moms. You know, so by collaborating with all of these other little businesses that are selling to the same people I'm selling to, it enables me to do a lot more of tapping into local markets. And if they're using that person and that person's associated with me, then it's a good chance that they're going to take that as a professional referral, which is only a very small step below like a personal referral. So if your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your best friend says, oh my God, I love this person, go to them and get this done. You're going to be like, yeah, okay. They love it. You know, my girlfriend, Danielle, who does hair, I've sent her at least 10 people. My makeup artist sent me to her, like, but I won't let anybody else touch my hair when it gets done. And, you know, so anytime anybody's like, oh my God, your hair looks great today. Not the case today. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to go to Danielle. She's the only person. You know, she's the only person I'll let put her hands on my hair anymore. And that there's nothing that Danielle is ever going to do that salon is going to do that is going to carry more weight with the people that I have sent to her than me saying that. Like, and I sent her a ton of clients from my client list too. When they're like, oh, well, you know, I still have to get hair and makeup and the florist and the cake done. Let me give you my girl's info. Not only does she do all of my clients' hair, she is the only person I'll let touch my hair. You know, and it's true. Like I tag her every time I go to the salon because she makes me feel beautiful. It's the same kind of thing. So I would definitely be looking at the companies that you can connect with and the past clients that have already spent money on you. Those are your evangelists. Send them a gift card. It's getting to be holiday season. Send out professional Christmas cards. Do a cute little Santa boudoir shoot or something sexy with a ribbon that says, you know, don't open until Christmas. And just put a gift certificate in and be like, here's a gift for you and a friend. And it's $25 or $50 or an 8x10 or a session or whatever you want to give away. But here's one for you and here's one for a friend.
Okay.
You know, and let that go. I'm definitely for in-person marketing and like postal marketing and print marketing as opposed to just digital. One of the other things that you could always look at is looking at like Groupon or Living Social. Those ones are nice because there's no upfront cost. You only pay when you're paid, which is really good for startups. Have you considered either of them?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so I don't know about Living Social. I'm actually getting ready to do Groupon right now. Like they're sitting in my inbox waiting for me to sign contracts with them. So I will tell you that after having the conversation, and this is all what I've learned so far because I haven't worked with them yet. But I go on Groupon all the time, and I've bought everything from airport parking to massage therapy to you know, phones and other things that are on sale. So they do products and services, and you can talk to them. They usually have like a area rep the same way that the Knot does. So your person, when you call, is handling everybody within like 20 square miles of you kind of thing, or 100 square miles of you or whatever it is. But they have a good idea of what's selling and what's not, and they'll give you ideas on what has made other campaigns because they're getting a commission off of everything that you sell. So they want you to be successful. Otherwise, they're wasting their time with you.
Right.
Now, Groupon is a steep commission. It's 50%.
Oh, wow.
And they want you to discount your rates by at least 40% because the whole point of Groupon is that you're getting it at a discounted rate.
Right.
All right. So let's say that a typical session to come in with me is $275 right now in the studio with one of my people. And that's for like family portraits, children, stuff like that. Doesn't include hair, makeup, or anything else, and that's just the base price. Come in, first session, $275. Let's round that up to $300. Okay, so you're going to give at least, they want at least a 40% discount off of that price. Let's just up it to 50 and say that you're coming down to 150. So now said person is getting a $300 session for 150. Well, when they buy that session, you're only getting 75 of that. So we have cut your profit enormously. Okay. But where I do see the benefit and where this did work with us last time, because we ran a short trial campaign, and I never had anybody actually call and book from it. So I was like, oh, I guess that didn't work. Groupon's a bust. I got to spend more time when I can do it. We were doing pet portraits because I've never done them professionally and I needed to build the portfolio. So they were same thing. It was $275. They were buying them for like $50 and I was making 25, but all it was the session to come in. And then, you know, I make all of my money off of the prints. So I wasn't worried about it. It was just something to pay to get them in.
Right.
When I went in and was like, oh, I'm going to look at doing the Christmas portraits and actually give this some attention now. Cause I just threw it up. Like, I was like, what do I got to do to get a pet portrait session up? Yeah, that sounds good. I let her write everything. I didn't do anything. I don't think it even had one of my pictures. I think it had a stock photo because I never went back and uploaded any of my photos on it. There were still 27 people that bought it and never came in. They just, because it's usually good for about 6 months. So it's like a gym membership. Like everybody comes in January 1st and buys their gym membership and, you know, has the best of intentions of working out. And this is the year we get our waistlines back that our children stole from us. And we're going to be, you know, ready to go. And then by February, the gym is half empty. And by next January, you haven't been there in 8 months, but you haven't gone over to cancel it because it's only $10 a month. And, you know, you'll probably renew and go back next January for at least 2 weeks again. And, you know, blah, blah. And people just forget about them.
Right.
So, you know, with it being at that much lower rate, you have to remember that that makes a difference in how much people value it as well. And while I would love you to come in and get your pet photos and get your family portraits and get your wedding portraits. Now, if I did wedding photography where even if they were getting it at a discount, let's say they were getting a wedding package for like $400. That's crazy for decent wedding photography. Crazy cheap. $400 is a significant investment in anything. Now we can look at it and go, well, $400 for a portrait session, that's okay. But $400 for a wedding, almost every photographer would go, that's so cheap. How are they surviving? You know? Same thing. If I say, oh, you spent $400 on a skateboard, you're like, what kind of skateboard is that? That thing better like hover, you know? But if I say I spent $400 on a car, you're like, okay, well, let me know when you need me to pick you up when you break down. So we have this different variation in what we expect things to cost. However, whether it's a skateboard or a portrait session or a wedding or a dog or a car or a house, $400 is still a significant chunk of change for the average person. So they are probably going to claim that. If they're booking sessions and session fees at $10, $25, even $50, that's the kind of thing that when the rest of life and their business and their family gets in the way and yada, yada, they keep putting it off and forgetting about it. And then, you know, they get the notification from Groupon going, hey, you have to redeem this by this week, which is also happens to be finals week. And, you know, and your transmission just went on your car and you have to go pick your mom up from the airport because she's coming in for the holidays. And they're like, and they just let it go. So you can make a significant chunk of income from people deciding that, or just forgetting to actually do the booking. But you have to find a way that if they're coming in, you're still making up the income that you have then discounted off. But it becomes a quantity thing. So, you know, if you were, what's your average session at right now?
900.
Okay. So is that what they're booking you at?
I book a lot. Most people book me at the 500. That's the lowest. And I can usually get those guys to go up to the 900. A lot of the 900s, I can get the next one up is 16 and I can get them maybe like a third of them up to that.
So if I call you right now and say, hey, I want to book a boudoir session, I have to put $500 down to book a session with you?
No, I take a $200 deposit to book.
Okay. All right. So a $200 deposit to book.
Yes.
So that's all they're paying. Then they come in and then they sell in the package, and then they're going to spend probably at least $500 to $900, if not more.
Right.
Okay. So if you were to take that package, does that $200 go as like a print credit, or what's that? Is that just the sitting fee, or?
No, I apply it towards the package, cost of the package at the end.
Perfect. Okay. So if you said you wanted more sessions, how many sessions would you like in October?
I could do another 7 or 8 in October.
That's it?
Yeah, I've surprisingly, I don't know what happened. My October has booked like crazy right now. It's the first time that's happened before.
Okay.
The month
Let's say you had 0 sessions in October. How many would you want?
20.
20. Okay. So your $200 is a deposit that then gets applied. So if I'm going to book a $900 package, I'm going to write you a check for another $700. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I was going to book a normal $200 session and I was going to give you $30 to come in, but then after the session, I wanted to book that $900 package, I would be writing you a check for $870.
Right.
And so at the end of the session with the $200 deposit, you're getting $900. And at the end of the session with the $30 deposit, you're getting $900.
Right.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then that is where I see the benefit in things like Living Social and Groupon working, because you're not actually discounting your rates. You're letting them come in for a lower amount, which is a lower barrier to entry, which lets a lot of people make the decision. Bottom line, if you charged $200 a session and all of a sudden you offered it for $30, the amount of clients you would have in would be exponential, because you have now taken out in $10 increments everybody's argument. Well, 200 is too high. I won't pay more than 190 or 180 or 170 or down to 50. So you've moved into a much lower barrier to entry, but they're still spending the same amount coming up. Now, I do think in order for this to be successful, they have to know about how much they're going to spend. So you can't have someone spend $30 on a portrait session thinking that they're going to Sears or Picture People or one of the like main commercial labs where they're going to spend $14 on a sheet of prints, because they're going to have sticker shock when they come in.
Right.
But if they booked that session and that included their session, usually a $200 value, and you had all the prices and everything in there, then they could game plan for that anyway. And they still are looking at it, and people go crazy when they see that discounting. It does something to the brains of women, similar to that V muscle thing that guys have that women don't know what it's for, but we have the same reaction to that as we do discounts and sales. So when it says it's 80 or 90% off, we're like, we're saving so much money. No, you're not. You're spending less money, but you are not actually saving money, because you will still have less money in your bank account than you did before you bought that thing.
Right.
But we don't see it like that. We're like, oh my gosh, but wait, like, you come in with all the shopping bags and your husband's like, what did you do? And you're like, saved $836. That's what I did. And now like the stores know it. So they put it on the bottom of your receipt and they highlight it. And you're like, you saved $400 today. And you look at that little highlighted one and you don't see the number below that is almost 4 figures, but it doesn't matter. Because the important thing is you saved 60% of what you would have spent. So it's that kind of mentality, and that's something that you can do. Now, I do think that people are price shopping on Thumbtack, but you also got your highest sale from Thumbtack. So it is a numbers game. But here's the thing. Let's say that you ran a special where you were going to throw it on Groupon, throw it on Facebook, whatever you were going to do, because you could do this on any site. You know, now if you do it on Facebook, whatever you're paying for the ad is what your overhead is. So you're not paying 50%. But let's say that you brought that down to where booking a session with you was a $25 or a $50 deposit, or even $100 at 50% off. It's actually not affecting your end line at all. But it is creating a lower barrier to entry. Now, Facebook, I know, has the option now that you can run an ad or a special or something else as well. You can make a special offer and people can claim them and they can buy them. So if they were to buy, let's say, a $25 gift card from you to come in for a session that's worth double the value, it's worth $50. There are a ton of people that will claim that offer, buy that item, and never show up. And you make money for doing literally nothing. You make money for being smart enough to understand that they are multitasking, that they are just as busy as you are, and that they are going to forget that they have it. You know, 6 months goes by, 3 months goes by, whatever you set it as, and it's expired. It's now no good. They call you and they go, oh, please listen to my sob story because my dog ran away and my son didn't tell me he had to stay after school, and so I had to go get him, and while I was going, the dog was getting car sick in the back of the car, and so I opened the windows, and the special flew out the window, and can I still come in for this session? Yes, yes, you can. I will take the amount of that thing and apply it towards your portrait session, which again, costs you $0 and can only make you more money.
Right.
Right? The nice thing about that is that they have their sales and their pushes, so you're going to reach a much bigger audience than you would have otherwise. So if you're seeing that Facebook is providing a huge amount of your potential clients, then whatever you're doing there, if you double that, in theory, you should double the amount of yeses you're getting.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of a trial by error. So if you're looking at multiple ads, seeing which ones they're coming to. For me, I have mine set up so that every ad I have goes to a different page on my website. That way, when I look at the analytics, because it tells you how many views you've had on your website today and how many, you know, have come and what page they were on and whatever, you can see those individually. If I have a separate page that is only where Facebook people are coming in and only where Twitter's coming in, then I can see who's coming from where. So if I see that 80% of my traffic is coming from Facebook, but only 2% of my booking clients are coming from Facebook, 10% are actually coming from Thumbtack or Twitter or something in that, then I know that I should probably push back on Facebook and add on to Twitter. So if my booking clients are coming from Twitter, from Instagram, from somewhere else, then I know that whatever I'm selling, the sessions that I'm looking for them to book, that ad campaign is going towards Twitter to bring in more clients. If I'm looking to grow my Facebook page, if I'm looking to extend my social media outreach, then I'd probably be looking at marketing towards Facebook because I'm getting more traffic from Facebook, more people are clicking, but more people are buying from this one, and that's two different things. One of them is advertising for outreach and following, and the other one is advertising for product. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing with both of them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments, concerns, things you're mad about, things you're happy about? No?
No, I'm good. I feel like
Everybody else is
good.
No, it's okay. You're the only one paying attention. Everybody else
No,
is
I'm paying attention.
I'm just teasing you.
A lot of it's just going over this.
Okay, so let's look at building a local following. Now, you guys were talking about successful marketing campaigns. Let me see if I can pull up mine. Because I have had one that has been equally successful every year. And it is the simplest thing, and I sell nothing. We're getting to that time. So some of you that have been with me for a while may have heard this story already because we probably talked about it last year around this time. All right, let's screen share. So there are several things that I think really contribute to a successful campaign. And one of them is emotional connection. So you guys are seeing my Facebook page now, right? Yeah? Okay. So one of our biggest events is the Giving Tree sessions that we do every year. Every year, the kids come in and we put together portrait sessions. Now, usually to come in for a portrait session is $275. This is our Giving Tree. Okay, so the kids come in and what we do is we waive that $275, and for Christmas only, usually we run it from like right after Thanksgiving all the way to like December 10th or December 15th at the latest, because that's the latest we can run it and still get them everything they need before Christmas, because a lot of our people are buying specifically Christmas and holiday cards. But we have our Giving Tree. So we buy a whole bunch of green construction paper, and the deal is that they come in and instead of paying the portrait session, they take the children, and for every child or family member we photograph, and that includes the parents and the pets, whoever they want in the picture is fine, but for everyone that sits in front of the camera, they have to bring a new unwrapped toy for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Okay? After the session or before, I have a team of people that are working with me. So the inside of the studio smells like Christmas. It sounds like Christmas. We have Christmas movies playing and Christmas crafts, and we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I have my assistant, Mackenzie, that works with me, who's a child education major and loves kids too. She'll sit and trace each one of their hands. So they come, they trace their hand, they write their name on it, and they add it to our Giving Tree, which is what this is. And then from there, they come in and they get their pictures. Now, this is what it looks like after the first weekend, which is pretty impressive. Last year, we had my Town and Country with all the seats down filled to the very top with toys. So they're saving almost $300 in exchange. They're probably, and you can see by looking at it, like they're probably spending between $20 to $75 on toys. And it just depends on the family. Like we have ones that come in and they're having their only child photographed, but they'll bring 5 toys, and some of them will be really expensive. We get everything from like laptops to books to crayons. And there's, you know, it's no judgment. It's just whatever you want to donate. It's kind of a pay what you can afford session kind of thing. But it lets them save money and it lets them feel like they're doing something good. Our biggest obstacle and problem is the kids not tearing into the presents when they come in, because there's all kinds of toys that they can't play with, which is just torture. And then we do all the printing and we go through. Now, we set up the sets for this. We run a session pretty much every 20 to 30 minutes for the entire week or two, and they go through. And for those of you that are watching on my Facebook live page, on the page below, there's a link on YouTube if you want to see what we're actually looking at. So the kids come in, they play. My job is to make sure that they have fun and to get a feeling for their personalities and capture them. They're in maybe 20 minutes. Some of them are hams and super good, and some of them are awful and like don't want to pose for the camera at all. So the whole thing is like building the session so that they have a good time, because the experience matters more than the photos. And when they're having fun is when we get photos like this. If you can photograph kids, you can photograph anyone. And the nice thing is, even when they're acting up, the pictures come out cute, and the parents usually buy them. Like, you get a very distinct feeling for all 3 of their personalities just by looking at the photo. And you get some really cute moments and some very beautiful moments. And so this is what we do. Now, even though we're not charging our session, because you're looking at all of these kids, each one of them's $300 that is gone. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. You know, we're already up over, you know, $3 grand. So we do sacrifice quite a bit of income. However, we're also doing about 100 sessions in the course of 1 week in half-hour intervals, which is much faster than what we usually do. Now, the nice thing is, the only thing that the toy trades off for is the actual portrait session. So they still buy their prints, but they get to buy them at a discounted rate with us. And I have either myself or somebody else handling the sales portion of it and going through. Now there is, let's see, I think on,
Jessica, just one question. What would they get if they had to pay for the sitting fees? So they would pay $300 plus they would pay for the prints, or what's the difference between the two approach?
I don't understand your question.
So normally, if it wasn't for that event, they would pay the $300 sitting fee, and then they would what would they get for that? They would get like the prints within it, or not?
No, they get the sitting fee. The $275 is the sitting fee to come in for a session.
Okay, and then once they get the pictures taken, they need to buy extra to get at least the print to get the prints. Is that it? So in that case, you just don't you offer the sitting fees, but they still pay for the prints.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so they're the same either way. They're buying all of the portraits that they want from the session, and we do an immediate sales session right after. So they come in, they get photographed. As soon as they're done, the prints come into the computer, and they'll get to sit down and go through them and purchase what they want. Now they're saving a ton of money on the session fee, a couple $100s, but they're still interested and they're still probably buying. The holiday cards are a huge seller for us every year. Almost every family that comes in gets them. We also have the accordion books that we get done, and those are a big seller because they come in sets of 2, which makes them great gifts for grandparents. They're magnetic and fit on the fridge. They're a really cute little kitschy gift that they love to get. We always have new clients that come in, but we also have clients that we have been photographing pretty much since they were born, and through multiple years and generations. So you get to see them grow up. And a lot of times they'll get the same card or the same book and stuff, and you see them kind of age through the photographs, which is where I really love it. So those are all helpful options as well. Now, we did this by the first year that we did this, and we have used the same photograph and ad, mostly because they're my kids and I don't have to worry about model releases. So I'm looking for that one. And we've tried a couple of different things, but really the photograph is what sells it. So if we go in and look at, this is what'll sell 150 sessions in, in the course of the week or 2. Now, the story behind this, because people are like, oh my gosh, you're so good. How did you get them to pose like that? I didn't. They did that all on their own. And we do have a couple of really sweet and wonderful photographs of them. But my son was in this 3-year-old phase of I'm not wearing pants. And I could not get him to put them on. Like, so I was not, you know, the part of being a children's photographer is only trumped by being the mom of the kids at the portrait session. I'm literally chasing him around the studio going, Steven, it's not cute. You're not an infant. This is child porn. Put your pants on. And I'm like fighting him and like pulling him towards me and arguing to get him to put his pants on. I don't want to wear pants. I don't want to wear pants. The only thing he wanted was a mohawk and no pants. And my daughter, who has been his mother since the moment he was born and doesn't realize that she's supposed to be a sibling, is arguing with him with so much sass at 3 years old. And she throws her hands on her hips and looks at him and goes, you put your pants on or Santa won't bring you nothing. And so Steven crossed his arms and said, no, I'm not wearing it. And Katie looked at me and said, Mom, he's ruining everything. And I snapped the camera. And so if you look at it, we went through all the photos. And if you see the other ones from the session, there's a really cute one of my daughter with these little angel wings, and she's looking up, and she's so much more angelic in the photo than she is in real life, you know. And I even got him to put on pants, and they're holding presents, and they're very Hallmark, and it's very cute. But every time we got to this photo, we were laughing because we'd look at it and be like, that stupid boy. And every time we see the photo, we go, you remember that 6-month period where he just would not wear pants? You know, and I just look at my husband and go, he gets it from you. And, you know, so, you know, that's the story behind it. Well, parents have those stories about everything. So while they love seeing beautiful pictures of the kids and they know that you're going to get smiling, happy faces, it's great and actually a huge relief for parents of young children to know that the portrait photographer they're bringing their kids into can handle them when they don't want to wear pants. And one of the things that brings in 90% of my referrals from children is, I heard that you photographed Chloe's son, and if you can handle him, you can definitely handle my 5, you know? And it's an understanding of that. So the photograph and the photographic quality actually comes second to the personality and knowing that they're bringing them to someone that's gonna be okay if they're having an off day. So when we use this one now, we send this card out every year. It's become the staple. It might as well be our logo for Giving Tree. They know this photo. They know it's from us. They makes them laugh every year. I get pictures from my clients that show that they hang it with their decorations because they think it's so funny. You know, my grandmother keeps it on her refrigerator year round because she loves that photo of her grandchildren being little brats, you know, because the parent curse works. But we send it and we, you know, with our new clients, it works just as well as the old ones. So if they're former clients, they get that picture and it says, come in for pictures or else. And they look really menacing. And then with our new ones, it says, whether they're naughty or nice, we'll get good photos. And that tells them that their children don't have to be perfectly dressed, that they don't have to sit and look proper at the camera as soon as they sit down. They know from experience and they know from going on our page and they know from referrals that their kids are gonna come in and play and be photographed while they're playing. Because one of the biggest problems and the biggest gripes that I hear with children photographers is that they're like, we just didn't get good photos of them. Because everybody's yelling at the kid. Even if it's not in a bad way, it's, look at the camera, look at the camera, look at me. And I'm like, don't tell them to look at you. I need them to look at me. And then they get overwhelmed because they stress out because the mom wants them to just sit down, smile, take a picture, and go. And that's not going to happen. And they worry that they're wasting too much of our time. So they know when they come in that they have 30 minutes for us to spend time. If we're done in 5, we're done in 5. That's totally fine. Then they can go, they can trace their hand, they can play with all the games and stuff that's around, or they can just get in and get out. If their kids need a couple of minutes to warm up, if they're shy, because I have the kids that like grab their shirts and sit like this and, you know, don't want to talk, or they'll just turn away and they'll sit or they'll look mad. You know, that's okay too. And we'll take those and we love them. And our people know when they go into the sales session, you know, well, this one of them sitting like this is totally one you should buy for future blackmail. And when they say, Mom, I need an iPhone, you can show them this photo and go, nope. You know, and we think about that in the ways we market. So yes, you can send a family portrait like everybody else gets, where the whole family's sitting there and smiling, Happy Christmas, love the Larks. Yeah, okay, that's great. But when we got the one of the little boy in the blue Santa hat and he's screaming his face off because his cousin stole his jingle bell and it was just pandemonium in there and he's sitting there like in the picture, I was like, dude, wait, no, let's use this one for the Christmas card. She's like, oh, I can't do that. They'll think I was beating him. And I was like, no, wait. So we go and we put it in the Christmas card and we just write, guess who's on the naughty list. Now the face totally makes sense, you know? Or, you know, the little girl that was crying and we put a speech bubble above Santa on his knee because they cry with Santa and it says, no, you can't have a dragon. You know, like now there's a story to the image and it tells that story. And now there's no such thing as a bad picture. You don't need them to smile at anyone. So there's nothing about like the sales. I don't put my pricing. The ad campaign is literally nothing about photography. It's about the kids. And that's it. So when they come in, they know that it's not about the prints, it's not about the pricing, it's not about the packages and A, B, or C. These are your children And Christmas is one of the best, most stressful, most frustrating, most awesome, most anticipated times for every parent. The holiday season and getting to watch them, especially when we're doing Christmas portraits for the people that celebrate it, you know, and they believe in magic still. You're at this age where everything is possible, where it's totally okay that a morbidly obese old guy who's been around since the beginning of time breaks into your house through the chimney and leaves you cookies and treats. Only a 5-year-old can hold on to that and go, yeah, sounds legit, you know? And so we totally play on that and we go, you know, we want you to come in and we want it to be a good experience. And if they cry, they cry. We're going to make it great for you anyway. And those bad pictures that are toss outs for every other photography portrait studio on a white backdrop where they're doing nothing become our selling ones where they're like, yes, okay, we'll order 100 cards for those at $2 a piece. You know, so if I bring in 150 sessions in the course of 1 week and they're all averaging between $100 and $200, you can do the math and know that it's a good week. And then I take off. So I do all of the portrait sessions from the Black Friday weekend after Thanksgiving to like December 10th. And I take off the rest of the year pretty much. And that's my time to, one, be with my family and spend time, and two, to sit and really regroup and figure out what I'm going to do the next year. You know, what I'm doing with weddings, what my planning are, where the prices are going to go on the marketing campaign. But the top priority of the campaign actually has nothing to do with sales. It has to do with that connection to people, with the fact that I understand what it's like to be a sleep-deprived mom, you know, with the fact that I know that it takes time for a child that's more introverted to warm up. And even the outgoing children, they're somewhere they haven't been before. And the ones that come back, it's an event because they know what they're coming into. They know there's cookies. They know that they get to draw. They know that there's all kinds of toys and games to play with. They know that they're coming to play. Everywhere else, they're going to get their picture taken, you know, but there's no stress. So they look forward to it. And I have kids that ask, and clients will drop a line and go, oh, Dante reminded me that it's time for us to go get our pictures. You know, we have one kid that the first time he came in, actually the first time I photographed him was his mother's maternity session. And she's been coming back every year since. Now Dante's like 9, 10. You know, she was one of my first clients, and I'm looking at him and going, I will do this kid's senior photos and I will probably shoot his wedding. Like, this is a lifer client. We became friends because she became a client and I loved her. So we started with like super cute scrunchy faces, and we did, you know, 6-year-old like missing teeth photos. You know, last year she tied him with Christmas lights and ribbon, and it just said, "Oh, Silent Night" on the blackboard, and she's sitting there drinking wine while he's tied up with a ribbon in his mouth. Like, you know, and they sent that out as Christmas cards, and it was my favorite. And they get together and start talking to me about the theme for their photo shoot every year. They come up with a great concept, and we like feed off of ideas. That's the campaign that sells. They will never go to anybody else for Christmas photos unless I tell them they can't come to me. Like, and I, you know, we keep, you know, because it's a charity thing, they always bring in a ton of toys, and like, those are the core people that are coming through every year. And then every year she's brought someone else, her sister, her cousin, her friend down the street. You know, you had to bring your kid to this girl to go get her photos taken. That's the ad campaign. And I don't spend $1 on it. So emotion, 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 emotion. What is the emotion with it? Now, with the Giving Tree session, I'm absolutely tapping into the maternal emotions. One, I want beautiful photos of my children to save this year, you know, because they get so much bigger so fast. Facebook is killing me with Cadence right now. She hit a growth spurt. She's taller than me at 12 years old. Her bone structure in her face changed so much this year. And Facebook's like, we thought you'd like to see this memory from on this day of her on first day of school last year. And I'm like, no, Facebook, I don't. Because she's got this little cherub face and I hate it. I'm like, this is my baby, you know? And so I'm looking at all these photos, and her birthday just came, and I always take photos. So I'm looking at 12 years of life from this child that I birthed. And now she's like this whole person with like attitude and hormones and like, oh. the eye roll's been perfected, but she's still so cute and so smart and so intelligent, and I can't wait to see who she's going to be in middle school and, God help me, high school, and, you know, what she's going to do with her life. But I still see first steps, and I still hear mama, and I still remember sitting with her in the hospital on the first night. There's all the maternal emotional connection. By the way, we're going to waive the portrait session fee. Instead, what we would like you to do is let us tell your story and let us help change theirs. So you come in for the session, and aside from saving money, yes, it's a good deal, and that's part of the emotional thing, because now, you know, you're saving money at the time that you're going to go spend all your money on your kids anyway. So it's more money they have to spend on them. But I'm also playing on the "this is bigger than us," which is a really powerful message, because I really believe that at the core, people are good and they want to help each other. This year, there is a ton of potential to help in the US with everybody that just got devastated with the floods and the hurricanes down south. There are so many people and so much devastation, and in the Caribbean islands and stuff like that. There's so many opportunities to make differences in people's lives that have literally lost every single thing that they own. And nobody's thinking about that. And everybody does the Red Cross and everything the first couple of weeks, and then it just kind of fades out. What are their Christmases going to be like this year? What if we did outdoor sessions for fall and mini outdoor family portraits, and you collected blankets? You know, it's warm, it's bonfire, it's that kind of time. What if we did a food drive? This year I'm thinking about doing Santa Paws and having a couple of days where you bring your pets in, and instead of toys for CHOP, you bring something for the local animal shelter, and we'll have a recommended, you know, list for that, and you can bring your pets in and get portraited, because people are pet parents too, you know, and they're their fur babies. There's a lot of potential for that, but people like feeling good, and a lot of people do that around this time of year. What is the difference that you can make and that you can help them make without them actually making it? You know, basically what I said is, would you like to contribute to charity? You know, you get that at the grocery stores here a lot. It's like, would you like to donate $1 for our Stars for Hunger campaign? You know, or Rita's does it and stuff like that. You just add on $1 to your bill. Yeah, sure, okay. Or no, I can't because money's really tight. What I said is, how about if instead of giving me $275, you go spend $25 on a toy, and I still take your picture? Now they have gotten to do something for the poor children in the hospital at Christmas. I don't know how much more Hallmark heartstring you can get from that. We're going to help the poor sick children at Christmas. Who says no to that? If they do, I don't want them in my studio anyway, you know? But I've made it impossible for them to say no, because I've also saved them about, at minimum, I would say $200. Even if they're really generous with their toy and spend $50, $75 on a toy or a couple of them, they're still saving about $200 that they can then put towards Christmas and other things, or towards their credit card bill the month after Christmas, you know, for that. So there's that thing. So we have the family, and we have the preservation, and we have the heirloom emotion. We have the "this is bigger than me, and I'm doing something that benefits my community and the world around me" emotion. And that's super helpful. We have the everything's, you know, discounted, and here's buy it now lever, because this is the only time of year that we do this event. So there's all those different emotional pools that are pulling into the campaign without me going, hey guys, it's time for Christmas mini sessions. And if you book now, you can get them at $150. Or I can send them a picture of my kids being brats and not wearing pants and go, naughty or nice, we're still going to get good photos. Now, I don't know which one you guys would buy, but I would totally go for that, because I know my kids don't like to wear pants, and I need somebody that can handle that, you know, and that's going to matter more than the discounted rate. So nobody can fight me, really. Like, the images are good. There's good quality. You're getting a quality product from that. You're paying $0 for this session, and you don't have to pay anything. We have people that come in, get a single 5x7 with the session, which is included, and leave. And they donate their toy. I'm fine with that, because then that's me doing my part to take down to chop. And I'll tell you what, whatever moment, because I do have a moment, like when their kid was literally threw one of the jingle bells through the drywall and caused damage and was tearing up all the presents and being a terror, because they happen. I had toddlers. I remember. That's okay. But when you go, I'm not going to say anything to them, you're part of the problem as a parent. And when you go, no, I don't think we'll buy anything either. Yeah, there's a little bit of me that goes, I hope you get coal in your stocking, you Scrooge, you know, when they leave. And that's fine. But at the end of the month, when I go down and I have a van full of presents and they bring out these big, like, dumpsters, basically, that they collect, and they have 4 of them for all of the donations that year, and I can fill one of them by myself because of all the donations we've got from the studio. Yeah, it's okay. You go ahead. You just bring the toy. I can do that. Now, I will tell you that at the end of this, we usually make between 5 and 20 grand, depending on how long we run it. Really, I could do that 3 times a year. I could run an event like this 3 times a year, and it would finance the studio. It would cover all the expenses, all of my overhead, and still put money in my back pocket, even if I didn't do anything else. So by charging my clients nothing, by selling them nothing, by doing it for charity, I can make 4 or 5 figures in the course of a week. How can you take that and then transfer that to what you guys are doing? If you were doing boudoir, I totally think that you could do all kinds of awareness campaigns for breast cancer, for ovarian cancer, for hysterectomies, for surrogate mothers, for in vitro fertilization treatments, for God, you could get into so many different things. Whatever's close to your heart. Kids are really close to my heart. Like, I have always been a very maternal person, and I've always loved playing with them, and I have a very soft spot for kids. I work with the Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep Foundation, which does sessions for terminal newborns and their families. Like, kids are one of my soft spots. Go tap into what yours are and find a way to align with that, so that the people that also care about what you care about are able to benefit something bigger than you, as well as your bank account. And when people feel like they're doing good, everybody gets that. There is a lot of truth to the psychological studies that say people don't donate out of the goodness of their heart exclusively, that they do it for that warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you go feed the homeless, or when you bring toys to children in the hospital, or when you donate to a cause that matters in memory of somebody else that the treatment couldn't save at that time. That's really, really powerful, and it helps you move away from the negative feelings associated with that. So whatever it is, if you can find a way to tap into that and find a way to make it not just selflessly beneficial, but also personally beneficial for your clients, you will clean up. And that's such a backwards way of thinking. Everybody's talking about marketing and advertising and campaigns and, you know, top dollar and charging what you're worth and being able to do all this stuff. But if you find a way to make it bigger than you, it will be bigger than you, and that will benefit you. There's a lot of truth to the fact that you can't fill someone else's cup without spilling on yourself. You know, there's only so much room. You know, so if I'm going to take your cup and I'm going to set it down and I'm going to go, okay, so I'm going to waive the sitting fee, and I'm going to also donate all the toys to the children's hospital. And I'm going to do this. Eventually, at some point, there's this overflow. And that overflow overflows back towards you. You can fill other people up and yourself. And that's a totally different mindset than what people have when they're constantly thinking in a scarcity mentality of this is mine and there's too many competitors and there's too much going on. So I really want to push that with you guys, because it is the single most lucrative event that I do all year. I make more money in a week than I do in a month, even though I'm charging half my rates for all of my prints and products and completely waiving my service fee. You could absolutely do this. I know, Mike, you're getting into newborn and baby sessions. There's so many different things that parents deal with, from SIDS to jaundice to all kinds of infantile things. I know that you're close and have your heart connected to foster care and foster families, and donations and things for different foster homes or nonprofit organizations associated with them would be great. Now, the trade-off is that I don't actually ask anybody to give money, because then it's just a trade. They're bringing the toy, which is a physical thing that they get to go pick out. And a lot of my parents go with their kids and let their kids pick out what they want to donate, which teaches the next generation compassion and selflessness and charity as well. So if I was going to do something else like the breast cancer foundation, well, they're taking monetary donations. So then it can just be something like, for every 8x10 you buy, your first 8x10 is 8x10s are $35. The first 8x10 is donated to the American Cancer Society. So that $35 from every single session is going in there. If I was going to do something where it was monetary, I would have a jar, piggy bank, you know, some kind, maybe a tree that they color in that year or something else, where they can see what we're putting together. You know, a donations jar. I guarantee you, if you set that in the middle of your office and go, okay, so your session is $100 and we're donating 50% of that to the American Cancer Society, and they hand you the $100 and you put it in this jar, I guarantee you, you will watch people and children add in dollars above and beyond just to donate to it. You know, and you can keep a running tally on your social media, which allows people to share and things too. But make your campaigns and your marketing not about selling the session. Make it about something they care about. Think about the things that cause you to stop scrolling, things that you share to the wall of somebody else. You tag your friend when it's like, you and I are totally these people. You know, my friend just tagged me in, Mackenzie just tagged me in one where they now have suitcase slips, and they call them head cases. You can get somebody's face printed and it slips like a bag over the suitcase, so you know it's yours at the airport. Who's always making stupid faces? My husband and my son, all the time. And she tagged me in it because she could totally see like Steven's face coming down the airport, like baggage claim going, you know, and this giant suitcase rolling around. And like, imagine seeing that while you're at the airport and this huge bag is coming down going, and looks like my son's face, you know? So that made her think of me. You share things that remind you of other people or that both of you care about. You know, I really want to go help the people, the pets. I really look, all the puppies, save the puppies in Texas put out by the flood. And then somebody has, you know, something going on with that and they share that link. You share something that you have an emotional reaction to, whether it's funny. I had people that I didn't know that weren't on my fan page sharing from my personal page the first year we did when we actually took that photo and we shared it. People I didn't even know were sharing the picture of my kids to their wall because they thought it was funny that my Mohawk son wouldn't wear pants. You know, these kids are just like your kids. This is what a portrait session with, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so would be like. You know, look at these photos. This is exactly something my son would do. Like, because it makes you connect to something else. That's the thing. Come in for a $150 mini session doesn't connect with anyone on any kind of level. Now, maybe Ava and I are having a conversation and Ava goes, I really need to get Christmas portraits of my kids done. And then I see that, you know, someone in her local area is advertising that they're doing mini portrait sessions. Maybe I share it because we just had a conversation and go, hey, Ava, you were just saying you needed this. Yes. But you know, and you're making the same face that and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, oh, this is so cute. But if I share this and I'm like, we're talking about I'm like, Ava, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to duct tape this kid to the wall and super glue his pants on his body if he takes them off one more time. And then she's scrolling on the feed and there's nothing. There's no ad. There's nothing. But there's this picture of this other kid with his arms crossed. And the quote says, I cannot get this kid to wear pants. She's immediately going to tag me and go, sounds like someone else we know. And then in the link above, it says, come in for your portrait session. And I go, yes, I will book a portrait session for you because you understand me. That's what you're looking for in your campaigns and your ads is connection. What are you doing to connect? If you connect with them, they will buy because they feel like you understand them. And people value that sense of connection more than they value any product, any print, any quality, the service that they're getting. It's about connection. Are you still with me? I'm done the rant now. Okay. So we're at about 1:15. We started late. I'm going to kick off and finish online so we can just go private. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to chat about?
Totally.